Howdy there, this is Diwari, and we're going to play some of the Destiny Alpha. This is going to be everything we know so far about the Warlock class. Now, the only Warlock class that you get, or subclass that you get, is the Voidwalker, which is going to be the equivalent of like a mage or a warlock from other traditional MMOs. So the quick and skinny is that you don't have a lot of armor, so you need to be quick on your feet, and you need to be using spells liberally, so that way you can destroy enemies. We'll explain what different spells do later on in the video. What makes this playstyle unique is that you get a double jump for starters. That's going to be a little bit of a glide ability, so you are going to be able to float over distances or just in one set spot, but you do float, so you are kind of a sitting duck, so pay attention to where you are. Secondly, you have a series of grenades. These grenades are each unique. The one that you get at the start throws an AoE field down that damages enemies over time. It's really good to throw on a boss, and it explodes on impact. There are other grenade types, but we're going to be getting into that later. As far as weapon choice, pick whatever you want. One of the best things about Destiny is that your weapon choice is all about your playstyle. I prefer to have a nice, accurate battle rifle, a shotgun, and a sniper rifle every so often, but, there are times where other weapons come into play, so truly pick whatever gun you want. It's fantastic. But the other unique thing you get is that melee that you just saw me use. Now, that melee is going to have significant buffs later on down the level chain, so pay attention. As far as gear is concerned, you are going to be very light armored, so you are going to take more damage. Pay attention to that. You need to be quick on your feet. There are two stats that are going to be very, very good for Warlocks, Intellect and Discipline. Intellect is going to decrease the cooldown of your Nova Bomb ability, and then Discipline is going to reduce the cooldown of your Grenade ability. Now, speaking of abilities, let's take a look at the ability tree. Now, the only ability tree that we got access to in the alpha was the Voidwalker subclass. Additionally, the max level in the alpha was level 8, whereas level 20 is going to be the max level in the real game. The more you use these abilities, the more you're going to be able to upgrade them, so use them often. Starting with the Vortex Grenade. This is going to be an explode on contact grenade that's going to leave an AoE field on the ground that's going to damage anything within it or passes through it. It is really good. After that, you get the Scatter Grenade. It's going to break into smaller pieces and then explode. It does not seem to do as much damage as the Vortex Grenade as of the alpha. So I stuck significantly more with the Vortex Field, and the Vortex Field looks like it's going to have good synergy with moves down the road. After that, you get Axion Bolt. Axion Bolt is going to be a homing grenade. Now, in a PvP situation, that could be very, very good. We didn't get to explore it too much, so we don't know how much damage it does, so we can't really discuss its merits as of the alpha. Now, grenades in Destiny are not inventoried. They're on a cooldown. The more you stack the Discipline stat, the more often you get to use your grenades. Additionally, other spells will decrease the cooldown time of your grenade, but we're going to talk about that here in a moment. Now, Glide is the unique double jump ability for the Voidwalker class. You effectively press jump twice, and you get kind of like a rocket pack ability. You either get extra distance or you get extra height. It's all about what the situation calls for. But keep in mind that you can be rather exposed while you are gliding. So if you find yourself in a vulnerable situation, you can cancel glide by pressing jump again and you'll fall to the ground. At the very end of the double jump tree is blink. Now its description says it's a teleport. If any other RPG is a guide, this teleport is going to be quintessential for the Voidwalker class. You can use it to get out of sticky situations, or you can use it to close the distance quickly if you need to. But at any rate, we don't know how much distance it's going to have because we didn't get to play with it too much in the alpha. After that, you get the Nova Bomb ability. Nova Bomb is also on a cooldown, independent of the grenade. You'll see it in the bottom left corner of your screen. You can decrease the cooldown by stacking the Intelligence stat, but also other skills will decrease the Nova Bomb's cooldown. We'll talk about those further on in the tree. Nova Bomb is going to hit like a truck, so you do want to use it often to clear out big waves of ads. It can hit harder enemies very, very hard, but it's not going to kill them, so don't count on it to kill bosses for you. It does have the ability to leave a vortex field if you upgrade it, so if you combine that with the Vortex Grenade, you all of a sudden have two AoE fields that you can either throw on a boss to have dots roaring, or you can seal off two entrances in a PvP situation, or if waves of enemies are coming at you. Either way, you now have two AoE fields that you get to throw at the ground. You do get the ability to split Nova Bomb into 3 parts. We don't know if that's going to decrease its damage in 3 ways between them, or amplify it 3 ways. I'd prefer the latter, but I'm greedy. And then after that, we have the Lance ability, which is going to cause Nova Bomb to travel farther and faster. Now, when you get Nova Bomb the first time, it's very heavy, so you have to arc the shot considerably, but with Lance it appears as though that's going to be decreased, allowing for more accurate shots. Next up, we've got Energy Drain. Energy Drain is the Voidwalker's unique melee ability. It's also on a cooldown. You'll see the cooldown meter right next to your grenade cooldown meter. It can be decreased depending on your gear, playstyle, skills, what have you. But the big thing about the melee itself is that it's going to buff the Voidwalker in several different ways. Now, as far as damage is concerned, it doesn't hit like your Nova Bomb hits. It's not as hard, but it's still enough to one-shot smaller enemies. I wouldn't count on it to do enough damage to heavier enemies. They might just, take the hit, laugh, and punch you right back in the face, causing more damage to you. But at any rate, you do have the ability to get multiple buffs from the melee itself should you kill the enemy. You get the ability to increase your movement speed, it also heals you, and it decreases the cooldown time of both your grenade and your Nova Bomb ability. So not only are you able to throw out your spells faster, but you can self-heal if you kill an enemy with the melee. Now this is very, very huge for the Warlocks because they don't have armor to help them mitigate damage. They have to rely on self-heals in order to stay alive. After the melee, we get into the next column of skills, and these are going to be the different skills that are going to allow you to boost the 3 stats that are listed above the skill tree. You have armor, recovery, and agility. Now, you get to pick which one best suits your playstyle, so we're not going to comment on which the quote-unquote best one is because it's all contextual. But the big takeaway is that armor is going to do exactly as it sounds. It's going to mitigate damage. Recovery is going to increase the speed at which you recharge your health. And then agility is going to allow you to run faster and jump higher. All 3 can be good for the Voidwalker depending on your playstyle. So choose which one works best for you. Now after that, we're going to start to get into the abilities that are going to further enhance your abilities from before. Starting with Vortex Mastery, this is going to increase the range of Axion Bolt. We didn't get to experiment too much with that because it wasn't in the alpha, but the big thing that stands out is the increase to the duration of Vortex grenades and the Nova Bomb's Vortex field, meaning that these area of effect damage over time spells are going to remain on the field for longer, which is going to cause more damage to the enemy that it's ticking upon, while also decreasing the downtime while you wait for the cooldown to be ready again. After that, you have Bent Gravity, which is going to increase the range of grenades and Nova Bomb. We mentioned Nova Bomb was rather heavy, so the more range the better, and it's also going to inherently increase your character's agility. After that, we have the Hunger, which is going to increase the duration of the Energy Drain effect. Now remember, Energy Drain is that melee from earlier that causes significant buffs to the Voidwalker. So the longer you have those buffs on, the more powerful and hopefully more defensively capable your character can be. After that, you have the Orders, which is going to start with Ancestral Order. That's going to further increase armor, recovery, and agility, depending on what you choose. As we stated before, pick whichever works best for you. We went with Ancestral Order because it was the only one we had access to in the alpha. It was just an all-around increase to all 3. But you also can see from Chaos Order that you can choose to focus on speed at the cost of lowered mitigation and recovery. Depending on your playstyle, that could be good or bad. Depends on how quickly you can get out of there. But as we mentioned, you will be squishier. Now, not to be outdone, we also have an ability that's going to increase your armor at the cost of recovery and agility. So the polar opposite of Chaos Order. So, depending on your character's build, this could be good or bad. At face value, it seems odd to boost armor for a class that has significantly less armor patently, but we didn't get to see it in the alpha, so that could be speculation at this point. We don't know until we get to get our hands on it, but as we mentioned before, we stuck with the one that increased all 3 together as a way to be balanced. After that, we get more further spell amplifying items, starting with Angry Magic, which is going to cause Nova Bomb to track enemies. We don't know by how much, but that could be very, very good depending on how much it does track them. And additionally, you'll see that armor will be boosted by taking Angry Magic as well. After that, you get Embrace the Void. Now, we didn't get to see this, but this is a very, very exciting move. Meaning, you get to damage enemies with Nova Bomb, and it's going to cause the energy drain effect to kick in, meaning you won't have to melee someone to get the speed, healing, and decreased cooldown times that the melee provides you. So you can hit them from afar and still get the buffs. Now contextually, this could be very, very good because you don't want to put yourself at increased risk by jumping in there just to get the buffs with the melee. You can do it from afar. I really want to see that in action. I want to see if their cooldowns are the same. Like we mentioned, we don't know yet. Finally, you have Bloom. And that means that enemies that are killed by any of your abilities explode. Now, we've seen this in other games before. Essentially, causing an enemy to explode as you kill them can lead to devastating chain reactions across the waves of the enemies. Meaning, if you hit one Nova Bomb, if you don't hit everybody in that range, you have the potential to chain react to everything in there, causing everybody to explode at once. We don't know if this chain reaction is going to be featured in Destiny. We certainly hope so. But again, another one of those items that we didn't get to experiment with. Now, all of these are subject to change because this is the alpha. We've stated that many, many times. But you can tell from the descriptions that we're very excited for a multitudes of these skills. Now let's talk about PvP for a moment. Now you might think that due to the Warlock's lowered armor that they wouldn't be as viable in PvP as other classes. Oh, but trust me, they make up for it. There are plenty of balance checks in the game that are going to prevent you from being at a disadvantage to characters with higher armor. Shotguns at point-blank range, still one-shot characters. Sniper rifle headshot, still one-shot characters. The Nova Bomb ability is still going to one-shot all player combatants, as well as all vehicles in the game as of the alpha itself. This is level 8 PvP, so we don't know how the endgame will operate truly, but there is no disadvantage to making a Warlock in a PvP scenario. They're just as viable, you just gotta make sure that your gameplay complements the class mechanics. Until we can see the Fire Singer Warlock, which is essentially the healing Warlock in action, we only get exposure to the Voidwalker class, but we're very excited to learn more. I hope this was informative. If it was, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. We've got a whole bunch more Destiny coming at you. This has been Diwari with Uniquely Average Gaming.